Coverage of the ARCA Racing Series on Speed is brought to you by Burger King. We remind you to have it your way. By Ansel, for over 100 years, the world leader in hand protection. And by the #1 rated Scratch Doctor. Keep your car looking great with Scratch Doctor.
Scratch Doctor.
Mike?
These guys have been running 20-some laps, Phil, since they pitted for 4 tires. And, you know, we saw Josh Richards, whoa, close, almost contact off turn 4 there. Patrick Shelter underneath Steve ARCA. He makes it work. But guys, anytime a tire blows, as a crew guy and as a race car driver, you want to believe he ran over something. That's why it blew. It's not tire wear. But we're getting into that range now where if there was some tire wear, some concerns about how those right front tires were standing up. And you said it earlier, Rick, this is a big track with a lot of turns. So it's really hard on those right front tires. If there were issues with the tires, that's when people are starting to set on pins and needles a little bit right now and say, okay, if the caution comes out, I hope it isn't us, first of all. And secondly, we need to come in and get some tires.
You know, all the crew chiefs were looking at those right front tires that they took off when all the leaders pitted on lap number 31 during that caution flag. While we were away at break, Nelson Piquet Jr., the 6 car, got by Steve ARCA to take over the 4th position, and then we saw Patrick Shelter get by to take over 5th.
Looks like ARCA's car is beginning to go away with him a little bit. Watch these two off turn 4. Shelter's trying all he can to hold it off of ARCA, but it just, momentum wanted to carry him up there. Steve didn't take it all the way out to the outside wall. I'm sure Patrick didn't count on that, and they almost made contact.
14 on the inside. That's Nick Igdalski.
Just outside of the top 20 right now. Nick's being shown a couple of laps down. There's Nelson Piquet Jr. We were talking about him a moment ago, up to the 4th position. That's 3rd, that white car right in front of him, the 42 of Clay Rogers. Right now, Nelson Piquet Jr. running some extremely quick lap times. Not quite as quick as what Craig Gose and Mikey Kyle can do, but very comparable to what Clay Rogers in the 3rd position can do.
Well, I'm sorry, Rick. We watched Craig Gose drive out to a 4.5-second lead the first run. This time, Mikey Kyle again had to get around. He got beat on the pit road, so he had to get around the car of Steve ARCA in order to get up to the 2nd spot. And now that he's there, he's beginning to whittle some of that lead away from Craig Gose. He's only 3.5 seconds down. In the last 2 laps, he's run faster times than Gose. So we still could have some competition for that lead before this thing's over.
There's Mikey Kyle right there, the Sears Auto Center, die-hard Toyota out of the Venerini Motorsports stable.
He's from Louisiana.
Really has done a nice job this year. Jumped in this team and been very, very competitive. Jim, what's going on with Mikey Kyle's day?
Well, he's just trying to find what he can find on the racetrack. He mentioned just a couple laps ago the car was tight in the center in 3 and 4, but on the verge of free off of turn number 2. So Mikey and Bill, I mean, this is a situation where is it a compromise for him, or is it a matter of just finding a place on the racetrack to run?
Well, he's obviously got a lot of speed wherever he goes. He's able to run times comparable to our leader, but I think it's just a matter of feeling your car out. It's going to change every lap, Phil. The more turns you put on those tires, they're going to react differently, and you're going to need to make a different run through the corner.
We're in the window now where if a caution were to come out, you can make it the rest of this race. And so we would see everyone on pit road if a caution were to come out. But now, who is going to start gambling and deciding to come down to pit road? And at what time do they feel like they're losing ground to our leader, Craig Gose?
You can see the slow car there. James Harvey Hilton is coasting on the apron. It looks like he'll make it in. But Rick, I think with that right front concern, these guys might indeed pit a little bit early, but it's a catch-22. If you pit a little bit early, then somebody does blow a right front tire, then all of a sudden you're a lap down and having in jeopardy of having a good finish.
09 of Grant Enfinger has made his way into the garage area, so his day is going to be short.
Almost 4 seconds between Craig Gose out in front and Mikey Kyle. Clay Rogers, Nelson Piquet Jr. and Patrick Shelter are your top 5. There's Mama Venerini on top of the pit box taking notes. We'll be back with more here on Speed. Take a look at our Messina Wildlife mid-race recap. Right from the start, Mikey Kyle spins the tires, gets a little bit loose. That backs up the field, at least on the outside line, and that allows the 60 of Patrick Shelter to take 2nd. But from that point forward, it was the 81 of Craig Gose who checked out on the field.
Seemed like Craig Gose took advantage of Mikey Kyle spinning the tires and hasn't looked back.
Josh Richards on lap 27. Cuts the right front tire, gets into the outside wall, puts debris on the racetrack. Caution comes out. Then problems for the 7 of Kent Schenkel, and they can't get the car up on the jack correctly, and so they have to bring in another one.
Rob Brett still on the racetrack right now. just took over the 6th position from Steve Arpin, and you can kind of watch what his feet are doing inside there.
So Craig Ghost has been the only car out in front today. No lead changes. The average speed over 144 miles per hour. Just one caution. 6 cars are off the racetrack, and there are 18 still on the lead lap.
These guys are getting into that 27, 28 lap range since they put tires on these cars. And so, like we said earlier, to be a concern whether these tires are actually going to wear out or if that indeed was just a cut tire that happened to Josh Richards. So teams are getting a little bit nervous right now, getting close to that window. And what do we got? Another 20 laps probably we can run on gas?
I think so, yes.
This is a battle heating up for 3rd now. Clay Rogers in the 42, Nelson Piquet Jr. in the 6. As you mentioned, Phil, Nelson Piquet Jr. has really been clicking off some fast lap times.
And you know what I like about Clay Rogers, Phil? I think of him as a short track racer. You know, he's a cat. When you go to a half-mile track, you think Clay Rogers can get it done. Here he is on a 2-mile track. He's showing everybody I can race anywhere if I have the opportunity. Running up in that 3rd spot and battling with Nelson Piquet Jr. I bet you that's something he never thought he would hear.
A Formula One veteran. How about that?
And here comes Nelson Piquet Jr. ducking to the inside. He's going to take the spot away from Clay Rogers. So Nelson Piquet Jr. up to the 3rd position.
Extremely impressed. I would like to see maybe another caution flag to close this field up and see what Nelson Piquet. It looks like he's getting better and better. See what he can maybe do with those front 2 cars.
Of the 7 races this season, we have had 5 first-time winners.
How could isn't that crazy, the competition?
Now running in the top 3, Craig Ghost, who won his first ever race and is considered one of those 5. He is leading, and now we have Mikey Kyle and Nelson Piquet running 2nd and 3rd. Take a closer look coming out of turn 4. He's been running a high line.
Whoa.
A little bit too high.
That was high plus a quarter right there. He did make a little bit of contact. He was hard in that throttle. You could see that right front fender now. It's not sticking out as far as it was. If he had a tight situation before, it's probably going to get even tighter now.
Yeah, you can see the tire as we look. See, you can see the tire. We couldn't see that earlier. That means that fender has bent in, and these teams rely heavily on those front fenders, that front end, to get these cars to turn in these big old long corners at MIS. So that certainly won't help him any. It'll be interesting to see if if Clayton Rogers can drive back up to Nelson Piquet Jr. and if Piquet can get up to Mikey Kyle.
Nelson Piquet is running in the 3rd spot, and actually the 42 of Clay Rogers has slowed quite a bit down from the pace.
Might have felt something with the tire, you think?
I'm not sure.
So right now Clay Rogers slower on the racetrack.
He's definitely off the pace.
Looks like maybe it's a flat. I don't know. He's
going to go by another slower car, but he's staying on the racetrack.
But he's not going to make the hard left turn onto pit road right now. Rob Brent and Patrick Sheltra battling it out for the 5th spot. Rob Brent was able to nose just in front of that 60. And again, Rob Brent has a little bit of damage to the left front of that race car, but still able to be competitive here in the top 5.
Yeah, he needs a little bit of a caution flag to maybe straighten that out a little bit. I don't think they can afford to take the time if he has to make a green flag pit stop to affect those repairs. Do you, Michael?
I don't believe so. I like the way he did down in turn 1 and 2. He just kind of explained to Patrick Sheltra he's going to need to move him over a little bit. He said, I saw you earlier, Patrick, do that. I'm going to need the same courtesy here. Rob has driven that car from the 19th starting spot all the way up into the top 5, running in 4th there. And look at the pace he's got. He's driving straight away from Patrick Sheltra, our points leader.
Again, Craig Ghost is out in front. 3.7 seconds is the difference between he and Mikey Kyle. Those two have run 1-2 pretty much the entire race. At the very drop of the green flag, it was the 60 of Patrick Sheltra that got by Mikey Kyle after spinning his tires. But from that point forward, it's been Craig Ghost in front of Mikey Kyle. Almost a mirror image of what we saw last week at Pocono, where Mikey Kyle dominated and Craig Ghost was the only one close.
Exactly, and that's what Mikey Kyle's hoping for here.
Wendy.
Well, you guys notice Clay Rogers slow on the racetrack. He does have clutch issues. I just talked to the crew chief, Blake Bainbridge, so they know they're not going to last very long out there. More than likely, Clay Rogers will be on pit road the next time around. Unfortunate ending for Clay Rogers because we know he had a very fast race car for a guy that's not a regular contender in the ARCA series.
Yeah, he was extremely fast. Good to see him running up the front of the field, but things laid down on him.
Remember, we reported that he had clutch problems in practice and he only got just a handful of laps, and unfortunately they bit him here in this race too.
There's your race leader, the 81 of Craig Ghost. He has led every lap. We've completed 68 and he's been out front for all 68. Only 32 laps remain from Michigan. Stay with us.